some people that just didn't care about it at all. They were dealing with Mission Impossible, Transformers, and they couldn't give a shit about still home video. So we ended up having a deal where they're going to end up. I think the budget for the P&A was about $700,000, which is like nothing today. For a major distribution, it's like $30 million. And said, let's see how far we can take it with $700,000. And they did a lot of really smart and creative things, like they demanded in the special college screening and midnight screenings, and they were trying to use Twitter and Facebook to kind of give the fans the tools to become advocates for the movie. And it really worked. The word of mouth really started spreading. And when that started happening, then the studio said, oh, well, this can actually be something. And they kept expanding it more and more according to the demand from fans. So at the end, it worked out.
And you killed Saw in the process.
Not
Saw!
Not on purpose. I just made a movie. I didn't have a grand design for it.
But I mean, just leading into that, now, I mean, it's been there's been 4 or 5 sequels since. I mean, it's this kind of annual horror tradition, the Paranormal series. For all 3 of you, can you guys talk about the idea that, we're having another movie coming out tomorrow, Friday, shooting this, you said 9 years ago, could you talk anything about, like, any possibility, you had any idea that it could get that far?
Definitely not. I mean, one thing that we did, which I'm really proud of, is that I worked together with Katie and Micah to kind of create a backstory, so we wanted their characters to know a lot about their own background. So we came up with a mythology just for our own purposes, and that some of it became the basis for the sequels. But back then, we had no idea what we were doing. We were hoping we were going to make a good movie, and we would even joke about, someone with an idea would be like, yeah, we'll save it for the sequel. And at that point, we had no idea that anyone would even ever see this movie. So there was definitely no plan for a sequel back then.
So you didn't know it was time-traveling teens downstairs?
No.
For Micah and Katie both, just talk about, you guys have such a great, natural, believable relationship in this movie. And did you guys know each other beforehand?
We did not. I believe we both came in for the audition, and we got called. We did separate auditions, and then Oren called us both back, and we sat down in the room next to each other, and Oren says, "So tell me how you guys met." And then we just launched into this really interesting backstory, which became the backstory that Oren was talking about.
Let me just say that if you watch the footage of them having just met 30 seconds ago, and I'm asking questions, tell me about your best vacation, and tell me about your worst vacation experience, and how your parents feel about the relationship, you would think they're a real couple. You would never guess they just met 30 seconds ago. I think that chemistry is the main reason the movie worked.
No, I just feel super lucky that we both showed up at that audition and that we had this opportunity. It was really fun, and I think it's not often that you meet people that you work with so well, and so to meet these 2 guys and to have this experience is pretty fantastic.
And how much of the film did you guys get to, I mean, you were talking about the backstory and stuff, but obviously we're not seeing that. How much of what's actually in the movie did you guys do yourself to, or did you already have that all completed, mapped out?
I mean, we talked a lot about who the characters were and where they came from, and I remember I didn't want to just be a girlfriend in a house, so I was like, well, I have to be a student or something. We came up with all of that stuff, and then that was pretty detailed. But of course we improv'd and kind of worked with it in the moment, and then kind of harnessed it, honed it, and then figured out what we needed that we didn't have, and went from there.
It was a very fluid process, and along the way, if we saw that something's not working or something's missing, we would all collaborate and be like, that's not working, what can we do to make it better? And so we knew that it had to feel very organic, and we couldn't just be stuck on a certain idea and be like, oh, just because we thought of it, that's the way it needs to be. We were honest with ourselves and be like, this sucks, let's do it another way, until we get it to work.
You guys made this movie in 2006, and had the first screening here in 2007. The found footage, POV stuff really wasn't in vogue. It had been a while, obviously, since Blair Witch. When did you decide to incorporate that as the filmmaking process? Was it the concept all along, or did you, just come up with it? Did you already have the idea to do a haunted house movie and then decide?
I would say the first step was watching Blair Witch Project, and that really kind of opened my eyes to, wow, there's another way of making movies. You can just buy a video camera, run around, and you have a movie. And after Blair Witch Project, there were a lot of movies that tried to do the same thing as Blair Witch, but they kind of didn't stay true to the formula. They would say, instead of letting the actors improvise, let's get professional actors and give them a script, and let's use professional lighting. And they did all these things that kind of made the found footage formula not work. And when I came up with the idea for basically what became Paranormal Activity, I knew that it had to be done that way, both for creative reasons, because that's what the story is. It's a guy that buys a video camera to document a haunting in their house, but also because that's the only way I could do it. I didn't have any resources or any connections, so I had to figure out a way to do it very cheaply with the little I had, which was a house and video camera and 2 great actors.
And one thing I think that
one thing that, because I've watched a lot of these movies since, you guys really inspired a lot of bad movies. But I noticed that a lot of them, they don't have the actors often filming themselves. You can tell that it's like a professional cameraman, and they avoid mirrors and stuff like that. But Micah, talk about, because obviously we see you actually filming in mirrors and the bathroom and stuff like that a lot. So talk about, had you ever shot a movie before?
Well, I did have some experience doing a campus television show, sort of like Wayne's World, and it was terrible, and it was absolutely ridiculous.
and we have it right now.
I hope it doesn't exist anymore. Actually, it would be kind of fun to see, but it did give me enough sort of experience with the camera to actually get shots that Oren said were too pretty. And he's like, you gotta shake the camera more. And I was like, no, it's just so good. Look at this framing. And then finally he told me I was not allowed to use a viewfinder anymore. And I stopped.
Yeah, just look to professionals that turn the viewfinder, just point it in Katie's general direction, and it'll be good enough.
Thank you. At the end.
Yeah, and at the end I said, actually, I'm glad that a lot of the stuff wasn't too shaky.
You talk about the time lapse. I assume that Oren didn't really have you staying there for 2 hours watching him sleep. Obviously, there had to be some sort of lengthy period of time where you're just standing there doing kind of nothing. Talk about those scenes.
Well, all the stuff we did like that was pretty cool. I do remember that there was one time lapse that went over the sunrise, and I did just have to stand there for this. I don't remember how long it was, but it was 30 minutes an hour. I don't know how long it was, but it was a long time. And I just stood there and did it. And anything like that I was super game to do, because the dragging down the hall, all of that stuff was so fun, and we knew that if it worked, it would really work, and so we were all in it to win it. So it was cool. Yeah.
And then I guess most of you, and Micah, you show up too, for the sequels, is it kind of fun for you? And you get these like scripts and you're like, oh, that's what I was doing then, especially when they go back.
Yeah, the first one was really an amazing experience because the 3 of us collaborated in such a great way, and it was just ours. And then as the sequels came, the world got bigger, and a bunch of other creative people came on board. And then, and then the family got bigger, and we had more to work with, and that was always exciting to kind of see what would happen with it and where it would go. And sometimes it was really surprising, and sometimes it was like, yes, that was exactly what I thought. And so I always enjoyed that part of the sequels. Yeah.
The sequels are really fun, but they're a completely different process. When we were shooting Paranormal 2 and I was on set for the first time, we were just about getting warmed up and like getting into the scene. And you have to understand, when we were shooting this film, we shot like 18 hours a day. I mean, it literally, at one point, Oren's girlfriend was begging him to like let us eat. And we were so delirious, but it created a real reality of doing it, because we were just doing this constantly, and we could do like 50 takes in a row if we wanted to. And Paranormal 2, we're just about getting this really juicy stuff, and someone calls lunch, and everyone just disappears. It was really weird. And I do say I love all the sequels, but part of me is like, what would they look like if